Hi, thank you for stopping by my YouTube channel. I'm going to be making a card using the Blue Night rubber stamp Lighthouse on the Beach stamp. Okay, this is created by Blue Night Rubber Stamps, and it's a red rubber stamp. This is my first opportunity to be a guest designer for the Blue Night rubber stamp design team. I want to say thank you to everybody at Blue Night Rubber Stamps for allowing me this opportunity to be a guest designer. I'll be making several cards this month using this stamp as my role as guest designer, and I'm really thrilled to be able to represent this stamp to my subscribers and to others who catch this video, hoping that you're inspired and you'll be inspired by the wonderful stamps that are available through this company. Again, thank you very much to the folks at Blue Night Rubber Stamp for giving me this opportunity and for welcoming on their design team as a guest. And they have been extremely welcoming and extremely helpful to me, because this is my first time ever on a design team. And I am totally thrilled and excited that Blue Night Rubber Stamps picked me to be a guest designer, because I love their stamps. I love making cards with their stamps. And so far, of all the folks that I've met affiliated with this company, they have been wonderful. So lucky and fortunate for me to have this opportunity. I am highly blessed, and I hope to do you all proud. Okay, so I'm just removing the mask, and what you want to save that paper that I just removed. You want to save that, because then this mask can be used again. It can be used more than one time. This is actually about the second mask that I created. My first one had been used so many times as I was practicing that I used it one too many times and it ripped. Okay, I'm just trying my best to line this up. It seems a little tedious at first, but it's well worth it, because it's going to give you your best card background. So I'm going to put my sun over here, not directly in the middle, but off to the side a little bit. And this was something that I played around with in my prototype cards that I was stamping when I received this set, but there's just something about it being over here that was appealing to me. And this is actually going to be a sunrise. I know a lot of people, when they create when they create cards with sun feature, it's sunset, but I am making a sunrise because, of course, beach sunsets are beautiful, but it's extremely fulfilling for me when I go to the beach to be able to see the sun come up, sitting out on the balcony at the beach condominium or wherever we vacation at, and watching the sun come up. It's just very peaceful, and it's also peaceful on the beach in the morning when there's not that many people around and you can walk and pick seashells. It's a lot of fun. This reminds me of a beach that we've visited quite frequently with my family. Well, it's close to Ocean City, Maryland. It's called Bethany Beach. There's a lighthouse not far from the beachfront called Fenwick Island. And it's a lighthouse like this, and it reminds me of this. So I've moved the camera a little bit closer. Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, I stamped this using archival ink, and I wanted to show you this great, ingenious tool that Blue Night Rubber Stamp has created. It is a magnetized wood block, okay? Hear that? And it prevents your fingers from getting covered with ink when you are stamping. This thing is fantastic. It's not that expensive, and these little plates are only $1. So you can put a little plate like this on your different ink pads, which I have. I've already added. I put it on the other side of my VersaFine Clair. Boom. Okay? So, wonderful creation. And especially when you're using archival inks, it's definitely a pain whenever you get black on your fingers. I mean, it comes off eventually, but all right, enough about that. Okay, so I'm going to turn my card to the side because I blend better this way, back and forth, so you'll just have to bear with me, folks. And I'm going to be using these blender brushes. I got these off of Amazon for like $7. They're not very expensive, and there's, I think, 8 per set. Okay, so I bought 2 sets, and I use them for my distress oxides. So what I'm going to do is start with blue, and I'm creating again a sunrise, which is a little different than I think a lot of folks that make cards do. Because I searched and I couldn't find that many examples, so I'm hoping that I do a good representation of a sunrise. This color is Tumbled Glass. It's a very light color because I want it to be light in the morning sky. So I will go ahead and start off of the edge and just very lightly go back and forth. And it's okay with me if it's a little bit streaky, because if you think about it, when you look up at the sky in the morning and you're looking up at the, you know, blue, it's not always solid. It can be streaky with clouds. I am going to add some clouds at the end, which I'll show you my trick for adding clouds to cards. And like I said, it's okay with me if it's a little streaky. Now I know that if I apply more pressure that I'm going to be able to fill it in, but my goal here is not to be pressing very hard. I have a tendency to be heavy-handed to begin with, so as I am going back and forth, I'm not even applying any pressure at all on the head of my brush, okay? I can't stress that enough. Sometimes when I do ink blending, I'm pushing on this part right here with my finger, but not for this card. It's not the look that I'm going for. So I'm going to take this down to about the top of the lighthouse, where the little walkway would be, or whatever you want to call it, balcony. I don't know the official lighthouse term, but I have been on top of a lighthouse before. One of the most beautiful lighthouses I've ever climbed was at in Savannah, Georgia. They have a little island that you can go to, and it has a lighthouse. It's really tall and really pretty and very windy up there as well. You know, and I can't remember the name of that beach because I wasn't thinking about it until just now. That is one of the lighthouses that I've been in, and the one at Fenwick Island, but that one is more in towards the land. The one that I was at when I went to Savannah, it had a very tall lighthouse pretty much right on the beach, so that was fun. That was fun. There's just something so peaceful and rustic about a lighthouse. And of course, the symbolism, you know, being able to see the light in the darkness. I'm sure, you know, many of you could relate to that symbolism. All right. And basically, it's an inspirational thing to me, thinking about a lighthouse. All right, done with the tumble glass for now. I might go back into that. Now the next color I'm going to use is yellow. So I've got squeezed lemonade and fossilized amber that make up my yellow options. Basically, I'm using what I have. And Now the squeezed lemonade, I think I'm going to save for the actual sun itself because it's rather vibrant. And instead I'm going to use the fossilized amber, which is more of a orangish color. I don't know. It's hard for me to describe it, but it's more of an orangish yellow, and that's quite all right with me. That'll do. I'm going to, again, work off the edge of the cardstock and just come in with a very light hand. And it's okay with me if it's streaky. Actually, I think it adds to the effect. The bristles of the brush are creating the effect. It's not anything that I'm doing. Whoops. It's not anything that I'm doing. Oh, this is my little handy dandy way of keeping my fingers as clean as possible when I'm doing this technique. Usually by the end my fingers aren't very clean, but I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. I'm just gonna go back and forth. Isn't that a beautiful color? Back and forth with the very light, not pressing, not pushing. I'm gonna go up a little bit into the blue so that I can get a nice, whoops. Oh, I really went into the blue there. That's okay, boo-boos happen. Little oopsies happen. Okay, I'm not a perfectionist. Okay. I try my best, but I'm not a perfectionist. Okay, next color I want to get into is orange and then some pinks or reds. So my orange choice would be Wild Honey or Spice Marmalade. Now, if you ask me, they are very similar colors, but I'm going to go with the Wild Honey. Now, earlier my brush head fell off, so I went in with some glue and I reapplied it. I'm hoping that it stays. I'm hoping that it doesn't fall off in the middle of making this card. That would be a disaster. Wouldn't look very good. It would probably smear the card. So maybe what I'll do is I'll test a little area with some scratch paper just to make sure that I'm not going to have a disaster here. So bear with me as I test my, oh, looks like I did a pretty good job gluing. It's not going anywhere. Even if I press on the head, it's not going anywhere. All right. Okay, sorry for that momentary tool check. All right. So next we will turn the card the other direction so that I can get my hand to hold the card but also to be out of the way. Again, working off the card, and I'm going to work off the card, come on in here with this orange. You know, and it's looking a lot like the fossilized amber that I put down. It's not looking much different. So I'm gonna try to apply a little bit more. Okay, I did want to go in with some pink, but we'll see what happens here. I'm already to the bottom, and I masked this, so we're safe. I'm like, ooh, did I mask that? That would have been not so good to have orange sand and orange water. Okay. Whoops. My little tool is slipping. Just, all right, well, as you can see, it looks pretty much the same as the fossilized amber that I put down. Don't know why they're so similar. Didn't look that similar when I did a practice card, but it is what it is. What I'm going to do is pick out a pink color. Now I've got several pinks to pick from. I've got Abandoned Coral, Picked Raspberry, Worn Lipstick, and Spun Sugar. Now the Abandoned Coral is the brightest, and of course the Spun Sugar is the lightest. So I think what I will do is decide between the Worn Lipstick and the Picked Raspberry. And I think I'm going to go with the Worn Lipstick, because it's more of a reddish pink. Okay, and I've got my big brush here. I don't know why it's so, I don't know, it's just the colors. I try to keep the brush with the color family, so anytime I use a pink, I'll use this, and then I'll clean it off on either a microfiber towel or just a piece of paper. So there's no rhyme or reason here, folks, as to why I have the brush sizes that I do have with the colors that I have. It's just luck of the draw. That's just how it ended up for me. No, this is actually nice. Okay, so I like the way it's blending with the wild honey. And you might be wondering, well, why is she going off the side of the card here? So the card is going to end right about here, all right? But I like giving myself a little bit of extra card stock on the side, you know, paper. I don't know. I'm just strange like that. It just allows me a little bit of margin for error. I don't know. Plus, when I'm blending, I'm going back and forth. I'm going off the card anyways. You'll see what I mean when I put it all together. Wow, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I'm kind of excited. I think that my blue and my yellow are kind of, I don't know. There's a lot of blue. And I guess that's okay because it's a sunrise, but I'm going to add a little bit of this. This is the worn lipstick. I'm going to go in and maybe go up a little bit higher, create that dramatic effect. It's dramatic to me anyways to see the pinks. Okay. You know, the hardest part is deciding, should I pull my mask up or should I just go in with a little bit more color? I think adding this pink has created an orangish effect because it's mixing with the previous color that I laid down. Now you'll notice that I'm holding this brush head with my hands. I'm not using the handle. I don't really need to do that. It's just, it's so big that it's just easier for me to do it like that. Okay, I'm going to pick up my brush that had orange. I'm not going to add any more ink. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to blend at this point. This, all I'm doing is blending. And again, I know it's kind of streaky, but I kind of like that. I don't know. I'm strange, I guess. Most people, when they use Distress Oxides, they blend until they've got that milky appearance, but I'm different. Always have been, always will be. Hopefully, when we're all said and done, we'll all agree that it's a pretty decent looking effect. Okay, let me just turn it right side up and have a look at it here. See if I need to do any more ink on the areas that are kind of streaky. I don't know, I kind of like the streaks, you know, I just kind of do. Okay, I'm not gonna mess with it because the problem is if I keep messing with it, it'll just get messed up. So better for me not to mess with it. Let it go. Trust the process and, you know, make the best card that you can make. And perfection doesn't happen here. All right, so here we go. Going to peel the masking paper off. Okay, it's very dramatic. And I'm going to peel the beach and the water and the sand part up. It's good, strong masking paper. This is Brutus Monroe masking paper. And this is also Brutus Monroe Not Your Mama's cardstock. It's 130-pound cardstock, so it's nice and heavy. I think it's, you know, very smooth as well, so it's good for ink blending. Just all around a great paper to use. Just hold on a second, folks, while I save my masking paper. Okay, so because my Scan and Cut was being a little choppy at the bottom, it It did kind of blend a little bit of orange here, but I can go with my Copic marker and solve that. So I'm not too worried about that. Oh my gosh, I think it looks really pretty. I'm like really happy with it. I wasn't sure what I was going to, I didn't know, like I've been practicing this card. I've been practicing making this card all week, you guys, and it means so much to me, you know, being asked to be part of something that a company wants me to work a card for them. It just really touches my heart, and I'm really happy with the way this looks. And I'm very thankful and blessed right now. I'm always going to remember this moment. All right, enough with the mushiness, right? Okay. So I took my microfiber towel and I just wiped my craft mat off so that I could get some of that extra cleaned up. And I'm going to go up a little bit higher because I want to show you the next step that I'm going to do. So I'm going to be using Copic markers, well, alcohol markers, various different brands, various different companies. I do have some of the Copic sketch markers that are my browns. I also have those in the blues that I'm going to be using for the water. So the browns are for the sand and the blues are for the water. I've got black, I've got a gold color. Oh, you know what I forgot to do is fill in my sun. Okay, let's do that first before I get myself carried away with my coloring. So what I'm going to do is go back in with this little handy dandy tool that I created. Line it up with my horizon. Just line it up there. Don't move. Do not move, Tracy. Don't move, Tracy. Grab the Squeeze Lemonade, which is the very bright yellow. Grab my yellow applicator, and I didn't get a chance to clean it yet, but it's okay. It'll be all right. Really, it will be. And I'm going to go ahead and color in my sun. I want this to be the brightest yellow of all. And Squeeze Lemonade is a very bright yellow. It's a great bright color for the sun. And I love the sun. I love the idea that I'm including a sun in my card. And then when you see my sentiment, it'll tie in even more. The sentiment that Lynn, the owner of Blue Night Rubber Stamp, sent me to use with this card. She sent me some awesome, awesome sentiments. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Michelle, for mentoring me and helping me to be prepared for this. And thank you, thank you, thank you to Nancy Stamps for introducing me to Blue Night Rubber Stamps. She was the one who used them on her YouTube channel. She was the one who basically turned me on to them. And if it wasn't for her, I would have never found this company. And when the design team call out went out, I submitted my samples, and you know, I have a blog, and I was able to tell them about my blog and let them know that I try to blog once a week. I do have a full-time job, so I'm not as actively blogging as others, but really I love making cards. It's been a real passion. I've been making cards for a little over a year now, and it's been a wonderful community to connect with. But what I did was I showed them about the blog that I have. I also have an Instagram account. I'm on Facebook, and I post a lot of my cards, pretty much every card, you know, I'm posting on those platforms. And then the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, you know, is newer, but I try to create a video once or twice a week. I'd love to do it more often, hoping to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can do lives. So before I forget to ask you, if you're not already a subscriber, will you please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and will you please ring the bell so that you get future notifications of when I do upload videos. And I can guarantee you, all you Blue Night Rubber Stamp fans, there will be a plenty of Blue Night Rubber Stamp videos on my YouTube channel to come. I have one on there already, and it's of the Covered Bridge stamp set, which I did with watercolor pencils. Okay, so here we go. Time to color. This is B05 Paradise Blue. I also have B04 Tahitian Blue and several other light blue colors. So this is the way I do it. Okay, like I am not an expert on Copic coloring. I do definitely enjoy it. So I looked at the stamp closely, and I look at the stamp storage card that was sent with the stamp, and I look and I try to visualize. Hold on a second, I'm getting it. I just want to peel my masks off of it. I had my masks on it. I try to look at this and think, okay, where does the beach kind of start, right? And where does the sand kind of start? And then that's how I gauge where to start, all right? So to me, right in through here is our shore horizon. So I'm going to take this as my darkest blue and just go across the horizon. Now, technically, this if you're thinking about a real sunset, this would be like a reflection of yellow, but I would probably mess things up if I tried to do that. So, not today, maybe in the future, but not today. And because this is my extra kind of wiggle space, it's going to get trimmed. I'm just going to go ahead and color right off the edge. I don't always do that, having the extra, but the ink blending lends itself to that. Now, the next step is to trace along the shoreline. So, you know, when you go to the beach, how in the morning, and you know, the beach is relatively flat and the water is lapping up into the sand and making these, you know, I don't know what they're called, but to me it's a pattern. And the pattern of that water going in and out, you know, of course each time it's its own very special pattern. But what I'm doing is looking at the card that came with the stamp and trying to follow the same outline of the water. In other words, I'm trying not to go over into the sand unless that is supposed to be the sand. This is where the water's supposed to be, so I'm focusing on the water first. And I'm just gonna outline it. Just gonna outline it. Okay. Now in through this side, it's darker. So, you know, there's all kinds of different techniques you can use. I'm just going to kind of flick, just make lines, because I want to go in here with my other blue, which is my mid-tone. I don't want it to be all solid, all one color. So at this point, I'm just making flicks, just the flicks. And then when I get to the edge, I'm making outlines, flicks and outlines, flicks, and then, you know, tracing some of these darker lines. You know, the stamp is lovely, and the stamp does the work for you. And really, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, there's work and there's coloring that has to be done and whatever. I'm looking forward to watercoloring this and doing other media with it. But use what's there on the paper from the stamp, because the designer that created it, you know, they know what they're doing. All right, so that's my first color. That was B05. Now I'm going to take B04 Tahitian Blue. So it's just one step lighter. And I'm just going to flick across with the Tahitian Blue. Okay, and to me, I don't know if you can see it, it's basically giving it a little dimension so it's not all one color. You know, to me, I think about this, it's not like coloring in a coloring book. I mean, yeah, sometimes it is, but for the water, I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be all solid. I think it should be varied. That's just the way I look at it. And then here, as I'm getting closer to the shore, okay, I'm just drawing some lines, just flicking. Not really flicking, just drawing lines. Flicking would be like this. And that doesn't make much sense to do it like that. Okay, now I have some light blue colors. I've got B32, which is pale blue, B00, which is frost blue, and B0000, which is fair, it looks like fair concrete, but it's probably fair something else. Let's go in with the B32, the pale blue, and just, again, just drawing some lines, even towards the back here. It doesn't all have to be towards the front. It can be where I've already laid down color, because basically this is helping to blend things. And then going forward, closer to the shoreline with pale. It's a really pretty color. Okay, then I'm going to take my B00, which is frost blue. And this time, instead of going from left to right, I'm going from right to left. The reason being is the way the water is on this stamp, it's going in that direction, and I don't want to go over. I don't want to go too far over. I just want to, you know, make sure that I'm getting a nice, I guess like pointiness to it. Yeah, pointiness, for lack of a better word. Okay. A little bit through here too. Okay. There. I think that's good. I think I missed a spot here though when I was doing my outlining, so I'm going to go in with my mid blue. I missed a little bit right here, or that, or it just faded back. You know, I guess it could happen. Maybe my ink's not as dry as it could be. I always thought that these inks were Copic friendly, but I mean the archival ink, but you know, I've never tested it, you know, for sure. And then the final step will be the B0000 pale. Sorry, I need my readers, my cheaters, to read that. Just filling in here. All right. And if I see any light spaces back here, might as well just take it and fill it in. Okay. Now that ocean, beach, once the sand comes into play, I think it'll be more dramatic. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to color is the sand and also the stones that are on the sandy area. Okay. I've got these three colors, and then I have a Nouveau marker too. And the color of the Nouveau marker is 479 Hay Bale. I'm going to try to take the lid off here. Okay. Yeah, that's a nice brown color. I also have E35 Chamois, chamois, like a chamois cloth. YR24 Pale Sepia. I'm not sure that I'm going to use that. Pale Sepia. Might use it. And then my lightest brown is E33 Sand. Yay, I have one called Sand. Okay. I'm sorry. First I'm going to do my rocks. All right, so for the rocks, I have some gray Nouveau. These are gray Nouveau. 487. Wait, the lightest color is 485, then 487, then 489, than $4.91. So I actually have four. I'm going to take the $4.91 out of the mix. That's the darkest color. I'm going to start with my darkest color, which is the $4.89. Well, my object here is to outline the rocks. So this is a rocky landscape, and I'm just going to try and outline these rocks. This is a bullet tip marker. It's a lot different than the alcohol marker, the Copic that I just had. They have a brush tip. I mean, a lot of people are real fussy about, like, they only want a brush tip. I think these Nuvo markers are way more affordable. You get 3 to a pack for like $5.99, so they're way more affordable than the Copics. So I probably will just be happy that I can get them, and you know, I don't see myself buying any more Copics in the future because they're expensive. This is the $4.85. Oh, that's the wrong color. I need the $4.87, which is the mid-tone. Yeah, now that all these other companies are coming out with, whoops, sorry that I was off screen. Now that all these other companies are coming out with Copic or alcohol markers that are less expensive than the Copic, I probably will stick to these other companies. I have a lot of the Copic that I can just get the refills and just, just use these other ones that are less expensive. There's also one called Style File markers that I have purchased through Brutus Monroe, and I like those too. So I like them all. All right. I think our rocks look really nice. All right. Whoops. Missed one. I'm going to check my work here by looking at the card that came with the stamp, and it looks pretty good. Okay, now the sand. And this was the hardest part when I was practicing, trying to figure out how to color the sand. You'd think, well, what's so hard about it? You just take your marker and you just color it in. Well, I wanted there to be some gradation, because as I looked at the card that is the sample, it's not all one color. You know, it's lighter here, obviously where the water's hitting it, and kind of darker back here. It's also probably a lot more yellow than I'm gonna have it, but I'm gonna stick with this. It says it's the color of sand. That's the name of this marker, sand. It's E33. Okay, just going through, following the shoreline, obviously. Okay, now my lines will start. Okay, I'm just dragging. Trying not to go directly over the stones. Okay, next I'll go in with the, E35. And this color, I'm going to focus on the artist's impressions here. So wherever I see a line, I'm going to go over it. I know it seems really tedious, but it makes all the difference in the world when you're trying to get a image to be, how can I say it, sort of dimensional. You want it to look dimensional. This seems to help. And again, I am not an expert on using alcohol markers, but it seems that these darker lines, and also across here, the horizon line should receive a darker color. There's also little shards of grass, or sea grass, little tiny stubs here. I'm not going to make them green. I'm just going to use the darker color and just go over those. Okay. I think I got a lot of highlights in here. Now I'm going to go back to my light color. and draw my lines. And it's okay if I go out here because this will be trimmed to be placed on the card base. This is just the card panel. So it's oversized. The paper is oversized. So instead of being 4.5 by, instead of being 4.25 by 5.5, it's a little bit bigger than that. Just going in here with the, and making sure that there are no white areas remaining so that it's colored in to the best that I can. Okay, let's see here. A couple of missing spots around the rocks. I might have to outline the rocks here. One spot there. Okay. Looking good, looking good. Okay. All right, now, last but not least, coloring in the lighthouse. All right. So I'm gonna go with my grays just to start with. I'll start with the darker gray 489. Now, the darkest gray that I have is this 489. I'll start with the 487 just to be on the safe side. With the 487, I'm going to color in the black parts of the lighthouse itself. And this is not my darkest gray. It's the mid-tone. So I'm carefully following the line of the black. Gonna take the number 491, which is the darker gray, go in down here where my mask was cut. Okay, and then these parts down here are black. This is the edge of the, okay. And then what I'll do is go in with the lightest gray that I have, very lightest gray, which is 485 on the Nuvo. And just color in the white part. So it's not white anymore, but it's not exactly dark gray anymore. It just gives it some contrast. And I'll also color in the walking area where you walk up through here, making sure that anything that's white is now gray. And then I have this Copic number Y19 Napoli yellow, and I'm going to use it to color in the very top of the lighthouse, because it is, after all, a lighthouse. So I think it should have light at the top, not dark. What to do? So I've got a couple issues here. Here along the side of my mask, I have some white space. I'm going to take my brush that I used for blending. It's got a little bit of, what is this one? I'm gonna just try to come in and edge in a little bit, get some color there. It's gonna be difficult at this point. I might not be able to do it. I don't want to mess up my blending. I'm just gonna let it go, because if I try anymore, I might mess it up. I could, however, go in with the sand color that I was using, which is the lightest color of tan. Okay, and just, yeah, that's better. That touches it up a little bit. Just gives it a little bit of a, so it's not so white. I'm not going to go up all the way with it, just the edge here. Just to camouflage that little boo-boo. My cards are not perfect, folks. I do the best I can with what I have. All right. All right, I'm going to put my Copics away and get my sentiment ready. I'm so excited. And also get my trimmer out so I can trim this to size before adding it to a card base. Okay, let me make sure we're still recording. Sometimes YouTube likes to cut me off after 35 minutes. I don't know if it's because my iPhone gets hot. I don't know. Sometimes I think that, I don't know. Sometimes I'm thinking that I'm recording and then I look and it stopped recording. But right now, so far, so good. All right. So what I need to do is trim this down to 4 1/4 or even smaller if I want to put a little smaller than that. Let's try to make it 4. Okay, so I'm just going to put that there. See where that takes us. I don't like cutting that much off of the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to go about, I'm going to turn it upside down so that I can line it up right. I don't know why I turn it upside down. I know not too many people do it like that, but okay. I know where it was cutting, so I wasn't doing that blindly. All right, and then as far as it being 5 1/2, we know that we're going to trim a little bit off of this edge, just a little bit, because there's some blank space there. Okay. All right. Oh, that looks nice. So far, so good. Now, final cut. Again, this is 4 1/4. That doesn't seem, no, I need to look at the 5. See, I get my measurements mixed up. This is 5 1/2. This is 5. Right here is 5. All right, so I'm gonna be dangerous. Live life dangerously. I'm gonna have to go a little bit further, just a tiny little bit. Oops. Make sure I'm even on this end. This is where I get crooked sometimes. Woo! Oh, it's coming together, folks. It's looking good. It's looking good. I'm so excited. Okay. Now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. All right. So, as I look at my beach, there's just a couple spots here that I think I need to go back in with my mid-tone and go over, just to make sure that it has a nice edge to it. Sometimes the Copic markers dry, they lighten a little bit when they dry. Going back in now with my lightest color, B00. I'm just making sure that I did the ocean justice and that I have all the blue where it needs to be. Oh, that's looking really pretty. I'm really, really pleased with this. You guys, I'm so excited. This has been thrilling and it's such a wonderful experience for me. Okay. The sentiment that we're going to put on says, "Good morning, sunshine." And I just need to decide where to place it. And I'm going to use my Misty just to make sure that it gets in just the right place and that it stamps clearly. So here's my decision-making process. Do I go up in the clouds, or do I go halfway between where the cloud and the sunrise starts? Choices, choices, choices. I'm not going to go directly over the sun. I know that. I'm going to try to center it in the middle of the card. Okay, and if I center it, it would be actually a little bit below the sun. I mean, below the blue skies. So hopefully that's going to look nice. Do I want to go up a little bit higher so it's sort of half and half? I think I'm going to go half and half. All right, let me grab my Misty. This is the actual rubber stamp. You can see it's very well loved. I will clean it. Okay, and what's nice about their storage, the stamp just goes right on the back of this backer page and it sticks. Look at that. It sticks. Oh, I'm still getting ink on my fingers. Hold on a minute. Let me get a wipe. I certainly don't want to get ink on my nearly finished card. That would be a disaster. So I'm taking a baby wipe and I'm wiping my fingers, and then I'm going to take a paper towel and dry them, because when it gets down to this nitty-gritty, don't take any chances. Clean fingers. Clean fingers. Don't even ask me how many cards I have totally butchered as a result of having fingers that weren't clean. Okay, so in my Misty, I've removed the foam pad. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I don't have the magnets, I have the little sticky paper. Okay, put that right there. I mean, I do have the magnets, but I'm not going to plan on using them. Maybe I will. I just don't want to do anything to mess up this card. I'm so in love with it. I'm so in love with the stamp. I'm hoping that this is, let's see here. Good morning, sunshine. Okay, here we go. Let's close the door. I have to raise the arm of my camera in order to close my door. Again, archival ink. Keep your fingers crossed, people. Keep your fingers crossed, folks. This is it. This is the big moment. And then I'm going to put some clouds in there. I'll show you a trick for making awesome clouds. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. Do you guys get excited too when you're getting close to the final stages of having your card assembled? I mean, at least the designed part. I love everything about making cards. I love stamping. I love colors. I love the scenes. I love scenery cards. Oh my gosh, that looks so nice. So pleased with that. So pleased. So here's the decision. Do I stamp it again? Yeah, I think I do. Let's get a little bit more ink on that. Make it nice and bold. Okay, thank you, Misty, for making it possible to go in twice. To go and stamp twice. Yay! And the angels sing in the heavens. You think I'm strange. Yeah, I know. But this is so exciting for me. So exciting. Okay. All right, so let's take this off. Grab my pokey tool so I don't want to rip anything. All right. All right, we're getting close, folks. We're getting real close. Okay, I'm gonna stand up and try to find what color paper to use. I think black would look really awesome as a black. I think black would look nice. So I know I have some card panels here that are black. Okay, I've got one anyways. So, got a black card panel. This is a top opening. Okay. Oh, how pretty is that? I could possibly trim it a little bit more to give it more of an outline, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like the way it's just pops on that black. Okay, folks, so what I'm going to do is get my trimmer out and trim a little bit off of the top. Just like when you go to get your hair cut. Just take a little bit off the top. All right. Just a tiny bit. Doesn't even have to be a whole lot. Oh my gosh. So excited. Yeah, that's gonna look great. Okay, so I said I would show you a little bit about how I make clouds, and it's really easy. It's really easy. Sorry, there's a price tag on this. This is just a cheap Studio G, like from a big box store, cheap pigment ink. Okay, it's nothing fancy, all right? But when you use one of these real skinny blender brushes that came with that set of makeup brushes that I bought, those brushes that I bought are for makeup. They're not for, they weren't made for stamping, blending, but of course we know that they work great with it. All right, so all I do is just take a little bit, of that. All right, and then because of the way this brush is shaped, I can make some clouds. I didn't put enough on there. Hold on. You get a little bit more ink than that. I'm just making sure my fingers aren't dirty. And you can make as many clouds as you want. You don't have to have like a thick cloud base, but I just want to put a couple on here because I think that clouds are nice. And it adds a little bit of dimension. I made a card once using a silhouette Lighthouse stamp from Blue Night Rubber Stamps, and I put a lot of clouds in it, and it was like a nighttime sky. It was really pretty. And this is all I did. I just went in with this brush and tapped down on it. It's all I did. Blue Night Rubber Stamps also has a really nice cloud stencil that I'm sure that I'm going to use. I have it, but I'll use it on another card that I make using this stamp. But for this, I was making just the stamp using, I was making the card just with the stamp and the sentiment only. Okay, I'm gonna come down here with my clouds, just a couple. You really can't see them that much, but they're there. There's something about this brush that makes the best clouds. Okay, that's all. I'm not going to do any more because if I do, I run the risk of covering up all my blue, and that's not my intention. Go this way, go sideways. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Okay. Let me just hold it up to the light here so I can see it. Yep. I'm going to clean the ink off the mat so I don't ruin my project here. So 1 second, folks. hold on one second here. Okay. Now, the final steps. I'm going to adhere this to the black card base. Got my tape here, my tape runner. Whoops. Okay. All right. Sometimes the hardest part is getting your panel on straight and centered. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to do. Yes, one more thing. Now, when you go to the beach and you see the sand, isn't it cool how it's always so sparkly? Well, I have a Winkostella here. This is just clear Winkostella. All right, and I'm going to take and color the sand in with the Winkostella. Okay. It's just easier for me to turn it sideways to color it. I don't know why I'm like that. Let me see here. I'm gonna have to squeeze off the camera and get a little bit more into the barrel. There we go. Okay, now we've got some sparkly sparkle. Some sand that's sparkling. Because why not? Sand does sparkle. And so should this sand. All right. Oh, that looks so pretty. I love it. I love it. I love this stamp. It makes me think of the beach and all the happy memories I have of going to the beach with my family. Well, folks, thank you if you've hung in the entire time to watch this video. Sorry about the length of it, but you've seen my entire creative process from start to finish. I will go in and put a white piece of cardstock in here. So this card will be mailed to Lynn, and I'm thrilled. I am so thrilled. I'm so pleased. I'm so blessed. I'm so thankful. Thank you very much for giving me a chance and allowing me to be a guest designer. For those of you who are new to my channel, I would ask you again to consider please subscribing to my channel and giving this video a thumbs up if you like this card. Check me out at my blog where I'm putting pictures and descriptions of the cards that I make. thehopefulcrafter.blogspot.com is my blog, and my Instagram is Schultz551. I'm Tracy Schultz, coming at you for Blue Night Rubber Stamps. Thank you very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.